money-saving advice from the Japanese Kakeh Shsei. People used to barter goods and services such as their time, livestock, and food before there was such a thing as currency or money. The Mesopotamian shekel was the world's first money, yet it didn't come into existence until almost 5,000 years ago. Since that time, people have come to identify money with a wide variety of concepts. Some people believe that money is a power for evil, while others believe it is a force for good and makes it simpler to trade. Even though not everyone will have the same opinion on this or the most effective ways to make, save, and spend money, many competent people have offered their thoughts over time. When the person who ranks fourth globally in terms of wealth discusses financial matters, it is in your best interest to pay attention to what they have to say. The straightforward and insightful counsel of Warren Buffett is, if you don't make saving money a top priority, you'll probably never get around to doing it. You won't be able to access it when you need it either. On the other hand, if you commit to a savings plan and follow it through to the end, you will never regret doing so. Everyone is aware that the United States has a significant amount of debt, and the household debt in the United States is now estimated to be 15.6 trillion US dollars by the New York District of the Federal Reserve. On the other hand, Japan's total household debt is now equivalent to 2.86 trillion dollars. Compared to the United States, the amount of debt held by households in Japan is about equal to 1/2 of what is owned by households in the United States. The question that you must ask is, what exactly is going on? To better understand how Japanese and Western perspectives on money, spending patterns, and personal finance vary, we must first study Japan's past as a primarily agricultural country. Any community whose economy is focused on producing and maintaining crops and farmland is considered an agrarian society, also known as a farming society. Agricultural communities have persisted in different regions of the globe for the last 10,000 years and continue to do so now. Some of these cultures date back as long as they can. In those days, Japan was organized according to a caste system. This system was a short while in use during times of conflict. Nevertheless, as peace returned, it underwent some fascinating transformations. The merchant class, one of the lowest in the caste system, saw a rise in commercial activity during times of calm. Their actions contributed to the expansion of Japan's economy. As a direct consequence, they raked in a substantial amount of financial gain. While those with wealth and power in the United States are given social recognition for their achievements, prosperous business people in Japan remain anonymous. Because of this lack of acknowledgement, wealth and financial success were given a negative connotation. This discrimination is still prevalent in Japan. This influential Japanese ideology has sparked a new way of thinking about financial matters in nations such as the United States of America and the United Kingdom. A significant portion of the Japanese population values power and influence more than financial success. Because of the social stigma attached to being wealthy and the collectivist emphasis placed on blending in with the general population, rich people in Japan do not advertise their financial success. In Japan, it is pretty uncommon for people to live next door to multi-millionaires without ever realizing it, since their homes are designed to seem identical to those of their neighbors. Said excessive spending is looked down upon in Japanese culture for various reasons. In contrast to their Western counterparts, individuals in Japan are not under any social pressure to flaunt their wealth. People in the United States often spend more than they can afford to give the impression that they are a certain kind of person to the rest of the world. Many individuals live paycheck to paycheck and can't save, resulting in debt. Japanese spend differently than Americans. Japanese elites don't spend extravagantly. They may live off the interest on their money and assets, increasing their fortune. Japan's top class lives simply, which helps them financially. Despite disliking luxurious lives, wealthy Japanese prefer to buy trips, fine art, and wine domestically. This keeps money circulating throughout Japan. Japanese personal, financial, and spending patterns vary. Japanese youngsters learn private money early, which is different. Their parents teach them the importance of conserving cash and delaying pleasure. Japanese parents teach their children the value of saving and its consequences. They warn their kids against borrowing from others, including banks. Thus, Japanese kids start saving early. Most Japanese transactions are cash only. According to Statista, in 2022, 40.4% of Japanese consumer purchases will be cash. In comparison, cash spending accounts for 34% of all US expenditures. There are psychological benefits associated with paying with cash. When you pay with a credit card, however, the consequence of the transaction does not immediately become visible across all of your accounts. When paying with cash, on the other hand, you can see and feel the value of what you're purchasing. Because of this phenomenon, you find yourself considering the things you buy. As a direct consequence, you will find that you are less eager to spend money, which will help you save money. This psychological tendency contributes to an explanation for why Japanese individuals tend to have superior financial management skills. This does not indicate that the United States of America is not as intelligent as Japan, or that Japan is more advanced than the United States. A cultural and historical variable is really what it comes down to in the end. Neither is particularly incorrect or correct, and the two different methods offer their benefits. In this day and age, there is one fact that we cannot deny. It could be a good idea to take a leaf out of Japanese society right now, considering the rising cost of living in the United States and the endless possibility of incurring further debt. We could all be able to save a little bit more money. The manual method of money saving, known as Kakebo, is a Japanese tradition considered both old and very successful. Kakebo isn't only about cutting costs, it's also about simplifying your life and improving your relationship with yourself. The Kakebo accounting system is based on the following three principles. Kakeh, also known as record keeping on one's income and expenditures. Number 2, Shiri, also known as organizing your monthly expenditures into significant areas. Number 3, Kakeh, also known as determining an appropriate budget for each category. Kakeh, what's the use of manually tracking your money? You're more likely to process the information you write by hand than with an automated budgeting tool. According to psychological science, students who took longhand notes in class were better at answering in-depth conceptual questions. Writing out your objectives might help you achieve them, particularly financial ones. Spending a few minutes each month writing down what you wish to keep creates a readily accessible record. Writing aids memory. You study your aim to save $100 as you write it down and determine how to achieve it. This might motivate you to reach your objective. How to use Kakebo. Kakebo is simple, similar to how food journaling reveals eating trends. Kakebo reveals financial tendencies, the Japanese term for journaling. Consequently, you may do it with pen and paper. First, assess your finances in Kakebo. This involves maintaining detailed records of your spending over time. The technique should become a daily habit, like journaling. Most financial experts recommend tracking expenditure and income monthly before forming a budget. Keeping track of your spending and earnings is an essential part of the Kakebo discipline. The system of spending patterns divided into 4 categories. A Kakebo is a straightforward ledger that many people consider ingenious. After keeping tabs on your expenditure for a month, you can decide to classify it according to category. You can keep tabs on everything you purchase and get a handle on your money with the help of Kakebo, which divides purchases into the following 4 categories. 1. Necessity. Things that are required for daily life, such as food, toilet paper, and personal care items. Number 2. Wants. Things you desire but don't need, like a takeout lunch or a new pair of shoes. Number 3. Culture. Activities such as reading, going to the museum, and taking trips. Number 4. Expenses. Expenses that were not planned for, such as a visit to the doctor or an unexpected car repair. The 4-category system may help track your expenditure and avoid squandering money on non-essentials. Kakebo's advantages. Its emphasis on mindfulness makes it ideal for those who want to spend their money on things that make them happy. It supports reasonable monthly savings goals, tiny daily contributions rather than huge sums, seldom, and small triumph. You may still purchase non-essentials. Kakebo is about avoiding purchasing that bring just temporary pleasure. Sound financial habits are needed to get out of debt, save more money, or become a millionaire. Everyone desires financial security. To be successful, you must have processes that outline good actions. Who would benefit most from Kakebo? Number 1. Families with children who are interested in gaining an understanding of how household costs are calculated. Number 2. Those who are hesitant and fearful while making budgets. It is Kakebo's specialty to debunk the widespread misconception that a person is bad with money. By placing people in charge of their spending decisions, the technique bestows them an increased sense of agency and confidence. Number 3. Envelope budgeters. The categories in Kakebo are comparable to those found in the envelope budgeting system. This method entails planning out monthly expenditures in advance and allocating predetermined sums among physical or digital envelopes. If you find that planning with envelopes works well, you will most likely appreciate Kakebo. Number 4. First-time savers. The Start Anywhere strategy may help you save money since it motivates you to celebrate even the most minor saving successes. Number 5. Those that don't stick to their budgets. If you've ever had trouble sticking to a budget, the ease of use and adaptability of Kakebo could be the solution you've been looking for. I hope you liked and learned something from today's video. If you want to keep improving and being inspired, subscribe and press the bell button to be alerted whenever we upload a video. This has been Market Profits Institute.